and welcome back to the Healing Waters Chick Chat. And we have today, back by popular demand, Miss Genesis Keisha Martin.
Hello. How are you, Marie?
I am fantastic. And how are you?
I am doing well, thank you. Glad to be back.
Well, you know what? Thank you for coming back. I wish I could tell you about all the comments that I have received from the last time that you were on and we did Chick Chat. People absolutely loved you, as I knew that they would. And I was so happy to be able to share with the world my beautiful and brilliant friend. So thank you so much for coming back on. I know we literally only, I don't even know if we could even say we scratched the surface.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Because we have so much. I think we could probably do series of Chick Chat with Genesis.
I listen, I'm here for it. You know, I love talking to you. I love going deep with you. So anytime you want me to come, I'll be here.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. And I am so appreciative. So the Healing Waters broadcast is just about being real and being transparent and being honest. Our broadcast is extremely non-scripted, as you know. We really don't talk about, I mean, we may talk about that, we're going to talk about this subject, but other than that, we really don't discuss it. But I do that on purpose because I want our conversation to be like the conversations you and I have sitting across the table from each other. Because it's just us having girl talk. And we're just allowing other people to sit in on the beautiful friendship that we enjoy. So I'm so grateful for you for so many reasons. I do want to read your bio just because I want people to know your credentials, because you're such an amazing person. And sometimes I think I almost...
You're making me blush here.
Well, I think I don't do you justice sometimes, because to me, you're just my amazing, brilliant friend. And then I read down through your bio and I'm just like, this is like insane that I have you in my life. So I'm going to read down through your bio, and then we are specifically today going to talk about relationships, because I know that you have done couples counseling or relationship counseling, however you want to put it, for what, 10 years?
About 9 years.
About 9 years. Okay.
Yeah.
And the thing I love...
Maybe it's 10 now, Marie, now that you say that. Yeah, 9 or 10 years, yeah.
The thing I love so much about you is that you are always so excited when people graduate out of your therapy, because I mean, like, I just think that's awesome. And instead of you raving to me about how many clients you have, you rave to me about how many don't need you anymore.
Yes.
And I just think that is brilliant, and that is the way it's supposed to be. But you're literally... Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You're supposed to be working yourself out of a job, right? You don't want to be in therapy forever. I don't look at it like that. I'm giving you tools, right, to get on with it. Let's get on with it.
And I love that, because you're one of the few therapists that I have talked to that focus so much on the end result is for you to use the tools and not need me. And I just think that is just brilliant. So without further ado, Genesis Keisha Martin is the owner of Essential Therapy and Counseling, or Consulting, I'm sorry, in Charlotte, North Carolina. Essential Therapy and Consulting provides therapy to individuals, couples, and families, couples retreats, a nonprofit program, and corporate training all fall under the umbrella of her company as well. Genesis is a licensed clinical mental health counselor in the state of North Carolina and holds a Master of Science degree in marriage, couples, and family counseling. Genesis has 9 years of experience working with couples, families, and individuals with various mental health challenges. Mental health diagnoses that she has experienced treating include depression, anxiety, PTSD, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and co-occurring diagnosis. Genesis also has experience in training and corporate management and operations. In addition to her therapeutic orientation as a cognitive behavioral therapist, Genesis also uses non-traditional methods of therapy such as aromatherapy, deep breathing, mindfulness, and meditation. Most of her work is very active, and she provides tools to be used in between sessions. Genesis is a naturally empathetic and compassionate person and seeks to assist individuals in healing so that they may live their most fulfilling lives.
That's
Girl,
it.
I'm going to tell you right
That's
now,
it.
that bio is as strong as a garlic milkshake.
All right.
That is strong. That's strong.
That is, yes, it is. I've never heard that. Marie, you just, look, it's you. I love it. I never know what you're going to say, and I love it. Okay.
It's free uncut.
Yes,
It's free
I love it.
uncut.
You know that.
So, okay. There's so many different directions we could go here in talking
Okay.
about relationship. One of the things I would love, because I know you and I talk about this on occasion, but the love languages. Tell me like how you use that in getting relationships to understand and communicate better, maybe.
Yes. So when I work with a couple, this is one of the first things that we're going to go over is love languages. And to spin the negative first, let's do the bad news first and then the good news. A lot of people break up because they don't understand and are not loving people, loving their partner in their language. Okay. So with love languages, and a lot of people are very well versed on what they are. They've read the book and all of that. So you'll be maybe interested to know I've never read the book, but I do know what the languages are.
Okay.
And the way that I apply them in therapy works. So in terms of love languages, I'll just break it down for those who don't know, right? There are 5, this is the principle. There are 5 primary love languages. We have acts of service, we have gifts, we have quality time, we have words of affirmation, and we have physical touch. So those are what the author deemed as the 5 languages. And what we have noticed in the therapeutic and psychological world is that people will have 2 primary languages out of the 5. Okay. And what does that mean, language? What is a love language? So now I'm going to deviate from the book a little bit into how I've incorporated it into my practice. And what's funny is, you know, I'll tell people, look, that was a person who wrote the book, right? I'm a person. So if I want to deviate because I've learned so much from my clients, then I'm going to deviate and go with what I've learned, right? Because not everybody is right. So if this is, so I'm just doing that disclaimer for people who have read the book. So the way that I approach the love languages in therapy is I will say, for example, Marie, how do you know when someone loves you? This is how we're identifying what your language is. How do you know when someone loves you? Then you'll describe that. Is it okay if we do this now?
Absolutely. I love this.
Okay. All right. How do you know, Marie, when someone loves you?
So
what will they do or say? Or, you know, how do
Okay,
you?
so I'm a big words of affirmation girl.
Okay.
So communication is huge with me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you are,
You see, I'm writing notes as if we're in a session.
yes. So if
Writing
you communicate,
notes about your.
okay, yes, take notes about me. So if you communicate with me about your life, just, I mean, it could be just normal day-to-day stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That speaks volumes to me, because what that tells me is you want me to be a part of it. You want to share that with me. That's how I perceive that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's huge.
That
to me.
I'm
Words of
sharing
affirmation.
myself with you, right? And this goes across for you, right? This could be romantic, so your partner, or friends or family.
Absolutely.
Right.
But then
So
I
words of
also,
affirmation.
I also love that way.
Yes.
So I'm very wordy, and I'm always like, if I like you, oh my gosh, I'm telling you all kinds of stuff that's going on in my life, and blah, 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 blah.
Yes. And you're also very affirming. So usually those things go hand in hand, right? So the way that you interpret love is also the same way that you provide it, like you just said. So like you'll give affirmations and you affirm people, Marie, you constantly do that. That is like, nobody can be around you and not feel like they're a rock star. Like that's just the way you are. And I mean, I know you for like the past 10 years or whatever it's been. So, I mean, that's what it is. And so that's the way you also interpret it. So here's the thing. If you have a partner, for example, we'll just use one language. If you have a partner, for example, whose love language is physical touch, right? And yours is words of affirmation. You will be loving your partner with words. You will be affirming him. You will be, you know, providing support, verbal support. You might send text messages. You might, you know, all of the things, right? That the verbal accolades and such. Now, he's going to be very touchy. People think that physical touch means sexual intimacy. It can, but that's not what it means, right? So physical touch is just, they touch you. They might sit next to you all the time, right? Whenever you're somewhere, grazes your hair as he walks by. Just touch. There's a lot of touch involved. We also look at this with our children, because some people have children who physical touch is their language. So you'll notice that your child is always touching you, always sitting on you or underneath you or what have you. But back to the relation, you know, the partnerships. So if you're doing that and you're not getting words of affirmation back, Marie, you may not feel loved if you don't understand this. Okay. You're getting physical touch back because your partner, that's his language. Now, if he's not getting physical touch on a consistent basis, but he's getting words of affirmation, he may not be experiencing your love. He may not be feeling loved. You see how this can spiral out, right? Because so when I have a couple in front of me, we get here very quickly so that I have them usually. Now, here's the interesting thing. If people have the same love language, it's a pretty easy relationship because naturally they're loving each other as they naturally would. But when people do not have the same language, you have to learn your partner's language and love them in their language.
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Okay.
So we got to go on a commercial break here in just a minute, but what percent of people, if you were to guess, that you've counseled come to you with the same love language or have different love languages?
It's funny you asked that. So I'm going to say the ones that have the same language that come to me, I'm going to say maybe 10%. That from my experience, right? And it's a small sample size, right? But from my experience, maybe 10%. I'm always pleasantly surprised when they do, because it's easier.
Right.
It's easy to move them along. because they don't have to
Absolutely.
learn a language.
Right. Oh my gosh.
It's
Oh my gosh.
work.
Oh my gosh.
This
All
is
right.
it becomes work. Yeah.
That's absolutely, absolutely. Because now you're
Hmm.
trying to push outside your comfort zone into something that doesn't come natural.
That's exactly it.
Mhm. Okay. I cannot wait to come back and finish this conversation
Yeah.
after a short commercial break. Thank you all for joining us on Mondays at 12 p.m. for your lunch break to be inspired, to laugh, to brighten your day. That's what we are here to do. So we will be right back. Don't go away. See you in just a couple minutes.
80% of women will develop a pelvic health condition at some point in their lives. There is relief. There is hope. The Pelvic Floor Store, your resource for personal health.
And welcome back. We are back with Healing Waters Chick Chat with my beautiful, amazing, brilliant friend, Genesis Keisha Martin. Welcome back, Genesis. Thank you so much for joining us. So we were talking about love languages before we went on the commercial break. And we were talking about how when two people have different love languages, it really becomes, you have to push outside your comfort zone to learn how to communicate with them in their love language. Because would you say that that's probably how they're going to hear you best? Is when you communicate in their love language?
You know how they're going to hear you best. Yes, but in this sense. So if you're feeling loved, if you're when I say experiencing love, because I can tell you I love you, but if you don't feel it based on your language, if you're not experiencing it, then you're not going to feel it, right? But if I start loving you in your language, that puts sort of some currency in your love bank.
Okay.
And so communication becomes easier between people who are feeling loved. You get what I'm saying? So it's not completely right. So it kind of ties in to being able to communicate better when you're feeling loved and when you're giving love to your partner where they can receive it.
You make a comment, and your comment is talking about landing your plane instead of interrupting.
Uh-huh.
Can you
You want me to
explain
go
that?
with that?
Yes.
I would love to.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Yes, it's not mine. Okay, so I always give credit where credit's due. Rock Your Now is mine. That's mine from last week. But this one I actually got off of Clubhouse, the audio app, where when people, because it's an audio app, when people are done speaking and sharing their piece, they'll say, okay, I'm going to land my plane. So when I have couples, because often people are, when they're trying to tell their story, they're cutting each other off when they're talking, right? Especially if they're very passionate about something, if they're hurt, right? They're in therapy because they're hurt about something. So what I ask them to do is I say, listen, when your partner is speaking, let them speak, right? And then when you are ready to speak, you can ask them, is it okay if you land your plane? Instead of interrupting them, right? Or if your partner's interrupting you, you can say, all right, let me land my plane. Instead of, stop interrupting me. You always interrupt me, right? That's going to create a whole different type of energy. But if you say, okay, like I'm about to land my plane, just let me land my plane. That takes away that negativity, right? And it's just one little phrase that is saying, hey, I'm almost done. I recognize that you're ready to talk. I'm gonna stop and give you the floor, right? Or because some people are very wordy, right? And if you want to get a word in, you might say, hey, can you land your plane? Instead of, you're long-winded. Can you shut up? Instead of that, it's, hey, can you
Right.
land your plane? Because I want to take off. So it may sound corny, but it works.
Mhm.
I've
No,
given
I
it to my couples, they use it, and they like it, actually.
no, I'd never heard that before, and I thought it was brilliant.
Mhm.
I thought it was
Mhm.
brilliant.
Mhm.
You also talk a lot about, when you're talking about couples and relationships, you're always talking about protected time. Can you touch on that?
Yes. Oh, this is another one of my favorites. Okay. This is one of my favorites. When I refer to protected time, this is time with the couple every day that they designate to each other, to their relationship. So I ask for anywhere between a half hour to an hour and a half a day, right? So if you have empty nesters, you can do an hour and a half. If you're a young couple with children, I only ask for a half hour, but you got to be able to do a half hour, right? If it means that you've got to adjust, I help them put on my family therapy hat and help them in how to adjust their household to get it. But here's the reason. When we have a husband and wife, for example, and they're raising a family, a lot of times it becomes all about the family, the children, the bills, the all of the things, right? That we do. And we can get caught up in that. When the kids go on and transition into adulthood, the two are looking, they don't know each other. They're looking at each other. They're scared. I have some people who are afraid now because their kids are going and they're like, what are we going to talk about? So when you have protected time, you are feeding your relationship. You are saying you, to your partner, you are important to me. Our relationship is important. That is the message, right? And I'm going to give you your time. And that person's giving you the time for you. And it's not just that you're sitting there. There's no social media. This is just how I do it. No social media during the protected time. I don't even really like we'll watch a series together. If they really just don't want to do anything else and they want to watch a series and talk about it, fine. But it's really like, listen to some music together, right? Maybe you want to read to each other. Maybe you just want to sit by candlelight and just like talk. Like, I'll give them some other things that they can do to talk. Maybe you want to take a walk. Maybe you want to go get a coffee, whatever it is. So maybe it's intimacy, right? But you have every day protected time, and that is your time. So the kids can't have it, the job can't have it, the in-laws can't have it. That is your time as a couple, and it just keeps that bond, and it strengthens it, actually.
I just think that is so important. Not just, yes, it's mega important for the couple, but what a message that sends for the kids, because
Absolutely.
you are teaching and training those kids how to function in a relationship.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
huge.
And it builds the relationship. So the kids are also seeing the parents in a positive relationship, right? They're seeing that they're teaching the kids boundaries also, right?
Love that.
Establishing boundaries and saying, this is important, and I'm showing you how to stand and hold when something's important to you.
Oh,
So many
absolutely.
things that teaches. Yes, yes.
That is, I love that. I absolutely love that. And that, the things that you talk about, that's not just for like a husband-wife relationship, partner relationship. That can be in friendship, that can be whatever you're wanting to grow, right?
In terms of all of these things, actually, right? Because we're talking about relationships. The focus, I love married couples or, committed. I love working with couples. But all of these are relationships. Learning your children's love languages, your parents' love languages, your friends, whoever's important to you, learning their language and loving them in that way. That's when they're going to experience and feel loved by you, right? The landing the plane. It's just such a much more pleasant and cordial way of trying to have a very difficult conversation where emotions might be involved, right?
Right.
Protected time. Some people, quality time, right? I'll just say the love languages again: words of affirmation, gifts, physical touch, acts of service, and quality time. Some people's quality time, this is all they want, is the protected time, right? So if your spouse or whomever, your friend, if their love language is quality time and you give them protected time, I think, Marie, we do that with each other, right? Like when
Yes.
we decide, hey, we're going to go to dinner or whatever, that's our time, and we set that side of time. We go to dinner, and it's just me and you, right? With no kid, it's me and you, and that's our protected time in a friend, like to be able to describe it in a friendship. Yeah.
And it's, and oh my gosh, how we sit and we challenge each other, and we just, it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing.
It is.
I say all the time that everybody needs to have a Genesis in their life.
Well, I'm going to say everybody needs a Marie. And honestly, I hope they can feel that you and I are very authentic, the audience and your audience. Without a doubt, everyone needs a Marie, because you are probably the most uplifting and positive person that I have ever. You can't be negative around you. It's just not possible. Even if you feel negative, your smile, your energy, it's like the sun just came into the room. And I think the audience can see that, right? And it's, you can't help it. If the sun hits you, you're gonna,
I love that, and I accept that, but I just have to say it has come from years of doing the work. And you and I talk about that a lot.
Yes.
And you know what? Doing the work on yourself is the hardest, damnedest work you will ever do in your entire lifetime.
Yes.
But it is
but you know
worth
what? It's worth it. And life makes you do it, right?
Yes, it does. It does.
It kind of makes you do it.
It does. And I mean, or you're just going to be very, very miserable, upset, angst all the time. So,
and we don't want that.
Exactly. So you have shared with me, I'm really excited about a couples retreat that you have coming up here. Is it next month in March?
It is March 11th through the 13th.
Do you have any more space?
I do not have any more space for this one, but I will be doing another one in June.
Got you. Okay. So just really quickly, in a nutshell, what will this couples retreat entail for people that are looking and going, oh my gosh, I want to get in on the next one?
Okay. So what it entails, I'll rent an Airbnb depending on how many couples. And I want 4 or less, right? Because you don't want to have too many people there. You want it to be intimate enough, right? Where people feel comfortable sharing and all of that. So, 4 or less, there'll be an Airbnb in the Charlotte area, right? I provide dinner and breakfast. So it's like you come in on Friday, we do dinner together. We do, sort of some preliminary getting to know you, and then just diving in to what is marriage to you, right? Deep, right? So that's Friday night. Saturday, breakfast, and then we do some morning work, break in the afternoon, some evening work on Saturday, dinner again, nice dinner. And then Sunday, we do breakfast and we do sort of the wrap up and the goodbye. Now, within that, we're doing various topics, hands-on, deep. I do what's called alter ego. And what that means, and I love this, and being a therapist online, it removes this. I try to do it as much through online as possible, but I'm so excited about being face-to-face with the clients. I will literally stand next to the client as they're facing their partner and tell them, say this, say that. Certain things that they don't want to say, feel uncomfortable saying, teaching them about vulnerability. And so they can say it because I told them to say it, right? But it still has the same impact on their partner. So I'm teaching them and modeling for them how to communicate. That's just one example of sort of the hands-on work that we do.
Love it. I love it. I love it. So how can people connect with you?
I just opened a new Instagram page for my business. Okay.
Awesome.
Kingdom Therapist.
I love
Kingdom
that.
Therapist on
Wow.
Instagram. Kingdom_therapist. You'll see my face there, so you'll know it's me. And just send me a message and I will get back to you. I'm going to be, including like information on that page about the next retreat, this retreat that's coming up, and so on. So I'm developing it in the infancy stages, but I will, if people want to connect with me, they can go there,
Okay.
or they can call my business phone at 704-258-1611. And there they can text, they can leave a message, whatever they want to do, and I will get back to them within 24 hours.
That is absolutely phenomenal. Please, if you have not, and you have enjoyed Chick Chat with Healing Waters, I would ask you to click the donate button on WYTV7, either on Facebook or on YouTube, and donate any amount. It goes to continuing to bring amazing content to the world. So do that. If you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on Facebook. I'm Marie Kennedy Groves. On Instagram, I'm World Changer Forever. And you can send me an email at mariegroves@healingwaters.info. Genesis, thank you so much. I know we could sit here and talk for hours.
Yes, we could. Yes, we could. Yes.
And I hate to even cut it off, but our time is out. Will you come back and join us again for another segment? Because you were back by popular demand.
I'm humbled by that, honestly. And of course I will.
Awesome.
I love
Awesome.
it.
Thank you. Have a wonderful week, and join us again next Monday at noon for some more encouragement. And remember, this is a time to no longer survive, but it is a time to thrive. Good night.